Two quick things. At the end of this video, I'm finally going to share what's been going on with me behind the scenes, and hopefully all of you will stick around to hear that. And second, I'm very glad I uploaded that video on Thursday. It sounds like there's a lot more people that are thinking just like I am. And ultimately, I just found myself scrolling, listening to how people are talking about earnings and really just Tesla's progress in general. And for me, too often, I felt like I was rolling my eyes just watching people try to spin everything in a positive light or create new metrics to try to make things look better than they might be. And I just feel like not enough people that are covering the Tesla story are willing to say the negative things when they need to be said. And if you're new, just to be clear, I am all in Tesla stock in the public markets. I am a big fan of Tesla. I followed the company since 2012. But for me, it has always been truth over everything. So I want to be as objective as possible, and that requires calling out the company and calling out Elon from time to time. And per the usual from that video last week, I lost hundreds of subscribers. And listen, that's not me complaining at all. That's just part of being in this game. The only reason at all I'm sharing that is so you guys know that there are people in this community that are incapable of hearing negative things about Tesla without being triggered. If in your heart of hearts you know that is you, I'm just telling you that is not a healthy place to be. No company on earth is perfect, Tesla included. So if the people you're listening to, if you can go back through their content for months and months and not find anything negative or even critical of Tesla, then I would encourage you to consider if what you're getting is actually signal, or is it really more borderline propaganda. Today, Joe Tetmeyer said there are at least 15 more glossy and deep gold cybercabs at Giga Texas, and these all appear to be equipped with steering wheels and pedals. So that's an important distinction. Initially, the thought was these glossy cybercabs would be true production variants, meaning no wheel and no pedals ever. But clearly that is not the case, and many of these could still be considered test vehicles given they have those wheel and pedals kits. And the current expectation is these will all be test vehicles. They'll be shipped off all across the country to continue testing. So to everyone asking, where are these cybercabs going to go? Of course, across the country for that testing. If you take 50 states, even if you just had 20 cybercabs testing per state, that's 1,000 right there. And sure, some states may have none, other states may have more. But as expected, April and most likely a lot of May will just be these test vehicles being sent across the country for testing, which means yes, Tesla might produce hundreds of these cybercabs before deploying even one to the Robotaxi network. But it's true, the Cybercab could begin replacing these Model Ys on the Robotaxi network anytime. Currently, we're still stuck at 2 unsupervised vehicles in Dallas and Houston. All of these are Model Ys. And now we're up to 15 unsupervised in Austin, according to the third-party tracker. But one more time I have to say this because prominent accounts are still sharing these metrics without clarifying. This number all tracked 640. Some are using that to argue that's how many active vehicles we have, but those include inactive vehicles. So you guys know I don't love this tool, but I will continue to reference it because it's all we have and plenty of other people still are. So if you're going to do so, at least understand what the data is and is not. For example, in Austin, it said for the last week, unsupervised rides, there were only 23. But guys, the only data that makes it into this tool is if a user actually reports it. So clearly there have been a lot more rides than that in the past 7 days. What we're seeing here is only what's actually been reported. We're now on day 11 of the Robotaxi service operating in Dallas and Houston, and still on 2 vehicles only in each city, although yes, both are unsupervised. I've been watching the third-party trackers and social media to see the rollout of 14.3.2, and as Chuck Cook just said, it seems like it's now been paused. Chuck's guess for why the rollout's been stopped was because of the new intervene question screen, and Tesla moving that to multiple choice only rather than voice-based, and Tesla initially left out navigation as an option. But replying to Luca suggesting that navigation should be added, Yoon Tasai did say noted. And just overall, Chuck did not like the implementation of that pop-up box. But I actually think there might be something else going on. So we learned that the new Actually Smart Summon has finally been paired with Robotaxi features and the FSD branch 14.3.2, meaning all of those features are now using a unified model, which on one hand has given us vastly improved parking lot behavior for Actually Smart Summon. And going forward, I'm just going to refer to it as Summon. But there are still some limitations. It only goes up to 6 miles an hour, which sometimes even in parking lots can feel very slow, and the overall radius is still too limited in my opinion. But there seems to be something else going on. As Chuck Cook showed in his video, he was having serious connectivity issues.
We're in a crash.
Oh man, that sucks.
Okay, we'll just sit here and see what happens. Oh, see, Sentry activated. I guess it maybe these people or what activated cannot connect a vehicle. You know, when you talk about Robotaxi and it doesn't need to be connected, this still has a connection requirement. That me holding that button is their only. It's safe. It's not autonomous yet. Meaning like it can't go disconnected from me to you. It needs that. And it's a cellular connection. And I've got full bars, 5G on my phone, and there's our go to target. So it just came back, and I'm gonna press it real quick as this guy's backing out, and we got a woman crossing. Is it gonna go? It's not going.
It's not moving. It's not
going. Release to stop. I can only guess that it was the, you know what's interesting is it's cooling down.
Okay.
So in Summon, what just happened? Summon not ready, it crashed again. I got another one. Release to stop, summon complete. Summon not ready. Okay. I wonder if they tightened up the connectivity requirement. Oh, now we're in a bad spot. Excuse my language, everybody. We just had a problem. This guy we stopped in a traffic circle. Somebody started rolling, waiting for improved phone location. Release to stop. I don't know what to say. It obviously. Now, look at that, I released, and it's still rolling.
Oh.
What's it doing? And it went past the dot. That's not good.
That's not good at all, and it's got its hazards on again. It's right.
Well, but I let go of the button, and it just kept rolling. Yeah. It was not an emergency stop.
That was the first of its kind, yeah.
And again, important to note, both Chuck's cell phone and the in-car Tesla UI both said they had full service with the maximum number of bars. And I will come back to what I think might be going on here. But to everybody that might be thinking, oh well, not a big deal, it's just a one-off anecdote. Well, Texas Tesla just said his mom's first Robotaxi ride in Dallas was also filled with glitches. He said the screen refused to work and was plagued with connectivity issues. Rider support kept randomly dropping in on our rides and their connections were just as bad. And here's a separate short video showing that the connection to the remote agent has also been poor at times.
I guess, do you know why that would happen?
Unfortunately, I won't have that information available today. We don't get that kind of information. We're here to monitor and help.
But there's more. Just so you know, it's not just Texas Tesla being negative here, because genuinely, I don't think that's his aim. Spencer, who we know is a Tesla fan, said over half the times I've connected to rider support, the connectivity has been incredibly poor. If I was an average customer, I would not be very happy. And that was recent. That was from Sunday. At this point, I should make a critical distinction. So the mechanisms behind the scenes for Summon are not the same mechanisms as we see for Tesla's remote operations communications. But it is true that both of those mechanisms somewhere along the line are indeed having connection problems. But the main point I wanted to make here, Tesla Summon is not directly phone to the car. It's actually more like a 4-step process. So let's say I'm using my phone and I use Verizon. So for Summon, the relay would go from my phone and my Verizon network to the internet, where it routes through Tesla's cloud and its servers, and then interfaces with AT&T, because as far as we know, that's the cell service that Tesla is primarily using. And then finally, the data would go from AT&T to the car. And sure, maybe a better or renewed SLA, service level agreement between Tesla and these carriers would improve performance to some degree, but I'm not sure that's the main issue. So my guess as to what's actually going on is it's a problem with Tesla's cloud cloud relay infrastructure, because again, Chuck's cell phone had full bars and the car had full bars. And what infrastructure is Tesla using for that cloud service? Years ago, we learned about a hacking situation with Tesla where Tesla was trying to harden its services. But this specific hack at the time left access credentials for Tesla's Amazon Web Services account exposed. So at least at the time, Tesla was indeed using AWS for cloud services. And frankly, this probably doesn't get talked about enough, but they said the message from this research is loud and clear. The unmistakable potential of cloud environments is seriously compromised by sophisticated hackers, identifying easy to exploit vulnerabilities. So as far as we know, every summon command from our phones have to run through that 4-point relay with AWS and Tesla's cloud in the middle. But also in Chuck's video, he was getting a waiting for improved phone location error as well. And that's likely not a connection issue, it's probably more GPS. So if you have a lot of light poles or trees or roofing or building structures, those can cause problems. So I just don't want people perpetuating the narrative that this was a cellular connection issue, because I really don't think it was. My guess here is this has more to do with Tesla's cloud infrastructure, its own software, and certain thresholds for things like GPS positioning, and when Tesla software decides that it's going to throw up its hands and give up because of a certain time threshold for a gap in that data communication. And I actually think that's a good thing for Tesla to get it solved, because it's in their hands. They don't have to do some big renegotiation with AT&T or rely on somebody else to fix the problem. And to me, that all makes sense because Summon is now paired with Robotaxi features and the FSD branch. It's likely now a much bigger model, making things like latency and bandwidth a much bigger challenge. So overall, I have to say I was super excited about the new Summon performance from all of the videos I've watched. By and large, it's been handling Costco parking lots incredibly well, very smooth, to the point where most people don't even know what's happening. So for the Summon problem, that could be fixed with a new point release that maybe we get here in the next week or two. On the Robotaxi side, for communication with remote operators, I have less confidence in exactly what's going on there. Just wanted to highlight it's something Tesla should be looking at. And just to touch on something, Josh West has been in Austin taking Robotaxi rides. He said we're now back to supervisors in the driver's seat with hands on the wheel. And here's the photo confirmation. But as far as I can tell, the word is if your ride requires going on the highway, then Tesla will still have supervisors for those rides. And clearly, they might indeed be in the driver's seat. I just don't think it's fully accurate to say Tesla's going backwards here, because they're still adding new unsupervised vehicles in Austin. It's just they have not yet completely eliminated supervised rides either. But Josh did say he had a poor Robotaxi experience. He hailed a ride after high service demand after about 15 minutes. A Model Y showed up with no Robotaxi badging, and ultimately the drop-off was about a quarter-mile away from where they were actually trying to go. They asked the supervisor what was going on. He told them to call support, and then support hopped on and said there was nothing they could do. And they were dressed up and they had to walk the rest of the way in 91-degree weather. So that's certainly not great. It shows some of the problems that Tesla still has from a convenience standpoint getting pickup and drop-off right. But I think a portion of people are expecting that the supervisor should have just driven the car to the entrance since he was already in the driver's seat. But very clearly, Tesla's priority right now is building the software solution so this doesn't happen in the first place. So those supervisors really aren't there to provide any level of customer service. They are just there in the event of an emergency. And frankly, I'm not even trying to argue what's right or wrong in a situation like this. I'm just saying I can almost guarantee you Tesla has instructed these supervisors to not interact with the clients and to not do anything unless it is absolutely required and safety critical. And as Texas Tesla shared, here's a video showing it not slowing down for an active school zone.
Okay, so right here, speed limit is 20 miles per hour when flashing. You can watch the video again, but you see the lights are lit up on here, the yellow lights, the white lights. So it says speed limit 20 when flashing, and now it says from 2:45 to 4:15 p.m. during school days. 20 miles per hour for this school zone. But right here, unfortunately, we're going 35 miles per hour. And then if we check the time on this beautiful Monday, it's 3:05. which would fall in between the school hours. So we still got some room to improve with the Robotaxi, but overall the ride was super smooth. I don't think my grandma or dad would have noticed, but just something to maybe take note of.
And Dennis shared this image of his Tesla's navigation, which I have seen something similar in my own car. I'm sure many of you have as well. And we're just in a very weird time right now with Tesla navigation. I am pretty confounded as to why this is such a struggle. But if there's a silver lining here, it's that most of the early access group, at least the videos that I've seen, the navigation problems are better than they were on the 14.2 branches. But clearly, navigation is still not where it needs to be. And this one was interesting. Ashok shared a user video of 14.3.2 on the highway. I'll say though, I think the most impressive part of this clip is Omar's lack of a reaction as FSD drives off the road onto the shoulder over the rumble strips at high speed with seemingly nothing ahead of him, and at this point, really nothing in the cameras either. I just feel like if it was me in the driver's seat, I'd be putting my hands on the steering wheel at the very least. But as Ashok said, a maneuver like this is the advantage of having eyes all around. And I'll admit, one of my biggest concerns of being on the highway is coming up to stop and go traffic and having the car behind me or a semi not paying attention and rear-ending me or us at high speed. So down the line, if Tesla's FSD could recognize something like that and make a quick evasive maneuver to get out of the way, that would be incredible. There were some SEC filings related to Tesla stock over the past week or so. Just to clarify, the S8 wasn't anything new. It was basically Tesla just registering those 303 million shares for Elon's 2018 compensation plan, and that after the court battle has finally been awarded back to him. So essentially this filing just gives Tesla the legal runway to now be able to give those shares to Elon. So this was not new dilution, this was not Elon selling or anything like that. That was just Tesla legally registering those shares so they can actually issue them to Elon whenever Elon decides to exercise those options. And separately, just to clarify, there was a Form 4 for Elon where it showed he was disposing of those 96 million shares. No, that was not Elon selling any shares. That was just him giving up access to that interim or the bridge loan that we had talked about months ago that Tesla only came up with if his 2018 compensation plan was going to be shot down in the courts. But since that was restored, Elon doesn't need this bridge loan anymore because they said there would be no double dipping. But there were some things of note in Tesla's 10Q, recent changes that Tesla made to how Elon can actually exercise that 2018 award. And I want to share this news with an article that Alexandra, Tesla Boomer Mama, wrote. Just know I did fact check everything with the 10Q, but when it comes to this topic, she really does an excellent job of explaining everything and doing so thoroughly. And you guys know I like shouting out other creators when I think it's warranted. But the short of it, Tesla's special committee came to a new agreement. This will allow Elon to exercise that 2018 performance award in a manner that minimizes potential harm to Tesla, particularly from big share sales needed to cover the exercise price and taxes. Upon exercise, Elon will get restricted shares rather than freely tradable stock. These shares will be subject to a service-based vesting requirement. Elon must remain in continuous service as CEO or a specific executive role through January 19, 2028. A 5-year holding period on the shares begins only on the vesting date, not on the exercise date, which means Elon would be holding those shares until January 2033. The company and Elon will cooperate on a mutually agreeable plan to manage tax obligations in a way that reduces market disruption. So over the past few weeks, Elon did actually make some concessions here. Initially, he was going to get freely tradable unrestricted stock upon exercise. But now just know with this new implementation agreement that was just put in place, the new exercise window is between May 21st and August 15th this year. So upon Elon exercising those shares in that window, those 304 million shares will be issued to Elon, but they're now restricted. The good news news is Elon gets all of those voting rights immediately, but those shares are still forfeitable if he were to leave Tesla before the next date. And the next date is January 2028 for the vesting date. So if Elon stays at Tesla through January 2028, then at that point, all of those shares would become non-forfeitable. And once again, that 5-year holding period starts at that vesting date, which is what takes us to January 2033, when Elon could actually start selling those shares. And per the usual, that's an oversimplification, but those are the main key dates to know and try to remember. And I do think it's important to highlight that Elon did make some meaningful concessions relative to what he agreed to back in 2018. So he has chosen to delay his own liquidity for the benefit of Tesla. We just got some prominent AI engineers from China saying that Tesla's approach is the only option for level 4 autonomous driving. And these two engineers that have an autonomous driving startup of their own said Waymo's approach cannot completely solve the long tail problem, and the latter's cost, Waymo's, of opening up cities is huge. Yin Shi said, first of all, I believe Tesla is still the global leader in intelligent driving, and other companies are still far behind. Tesla's technology has now reached level 3. Of course, China's road conditions are more complex and no company has yet truly achieved level 3. And currently, China's AI large model parameter volume lags behind Tesla's, which is related to computing power infrastructure. The demand for compute power on the vehicle side continues to increase while existing compute power is generally insufficient. Tens of billions of parameters are the benchmark for comprehensive inference capabilities, and current vehicle side models are too small, leaving significant room for improvement. In the next 2 to 3 years, there may be considerable challenges in the pricing and supply of memory, which is likely an issue the entire industry chain will need to address. As we've been documenting the past few months, Tesla is well ahead of that curve, already looking to address that challenge. As we've been saying, a big part of Tesla's new R&D fab in Austin is to iterate on designs and try different types and amounts of memory. So even engineers around the world in China recognize that Waymo will not be able to scale profitably and agree that Tesla's approach is the way forward. We have a new company, ILO Logistics, that has started a 3-week pilot of the Tesla Semi on live freight routes. The vehicle will be serving multiple customers. All we have for now, ILO has said it will release findings from the pilot after the 3-week evaluation period. Finland put out some official correspondence on the supervised FSD approval, and they said, we will go through the EU approval instead of the national fast lane. So Finland will be waiting for the overall TCMV meeting and that vote, effectively saying we want to wait and see what everybody else does. But today we also learned that supervised FSD has been approved for testing in Strängnäs, Sweden. But I just wanted to be clear, this is only for Tesla employees that have been trained, and it's still only a handful of vehicles. So this does not mean that Tesla owners in Sweden will now be able to use supervised FSD. This is still only employee testing. We didn't talk about it last week, but what Tesla's doing with the supercharger network really is nothing short of incredible. And it's not perfect yet, but their trip planner intelligently selects supercharger sites to minimize total travel time. It's powered by a model monitoring real-time traffic in a geofence around superchargers, and it predicts how many vehicles intend to charge. These predictions of supercharger occupancy and queue length optimize your route and help set accurate expectations for your trip. This model reduces queue length estimation error to 20%. That means in the very rare case of 10 plus vehicles waiting, we can now predict the expected queue with an error of just 1 to 2 vehicles. And they shared these heat maps that the model generates. The blue is the vehicles and their path that did not charge. The red is Tesla vehicles that did charge. And you'll see these little white squares are the actual site posts. And as Max from Tesla said, superchargers are the only fast chargers with predictive wait times, and we're now using vehicle trajectory data to improve these predictions. predictions. Not all customers use Trip Planner to navigate to superchargers, and amenities nearby also make forecasts harder. For example, cars queuing in a drive-through next to a supercharger. Hence, we've had instances where estimations were off, including at the Tesla diner, where actual waits were longer than shown. This new model is much better, it'll keep improving, and is now being deployed at superchargers globally. So as somebody who plans to do as many road trips as possible in the years to come, little things like this can make a world of difference. Not only telling you how long you can expect to wait at a stop, but perhaps routing to a different supercharger to avoid that wait altogether. And with a recent app update, Tesla's also releasing its supercharger queue feature. So if you do end up at a location where you have to wait to charge, no longer do you have to wait in a physical line with your car, you can wait in a digital queue through the app. Android users, it's time to celebrate. The Robotaxi app is now available for download on the Google Play Store. And now, other than Tesla stock, that concludes the Electrified portion of the video. I just wanted to share personally what's been going on behind the scenes. So early 2025, I started a company with a partner who was actually a community member of Electrified. And some of you have seen we launched this company, Bands Fitness, which was an at-home workout solution. And for the past year, I had dedicated a huge portion of my life to that endeavor behind the scenes of Electrified. Looking back, I really don't know how I managed to do both, but here we are, still alive. But so as to not get into all of the detail, all you need to know is that my partner and I ended up on different pages, and I have decided to step away from the company. Now, we're still in the midst of figuring out exactly what the logistics of that will look like, but I'm now in this transition period where I'm helping them onboard some new people and continually lessening my role in the company and transitioning things over. And the reason I'm sharing this is twofold. Number one, I know some of you were considering buying the product, so I just wanted to be upfront and transparent that I can no longer vouch for the direction of the company from here. Now, having said that, I have no ill will toward my partner or anybody at the company, and obviously I very much believe in the product. But again, I just wanted to be very upfront that I am no longer at all involved in the decision making of Bands Fitness. And I also thought it was important for me to share this so you guys know why I've been uploading less. Of course, part of it is because there's not always enough news for me to dive into, but this was a very big part of my life for the past year, and frankly was something that I thought was going to be a huge portion of my life going forward. And given the unexpected outcome of that endeavor, my wife and I have been forced to reset, go back to first principles, and really think about our life and where we want to go from here. So the good news is that over time, this should open up more time for me to dedicate to Electrified. But the truth is, this transition period that I'm in will most likely linger here for another few months. And so all of that to say, I cannot thank you guys enough for watching the videos here, liking and commenting, and especially trying out all of these sponsors. And the truth is, I don't say it enough. If you guys weren't so generous in doing that, I just would not be able to dedicate so much time to the channel. And just be on the lookout over the next 2 or 3 months. I am working hard to have some new channel sponsors that I'll be very proud of that you guys will hopefully have the opportunity to try out as well. And yes, I do have some interviews scheduled, so those will be coming up here shortly. And so ultimately, I just wanted you guys to know that I've had a lot going on for myself mentally behind the scenes the past few months. And to those of you that are still considering buying the Bands Fitness product, if you have questions, of course, I'd be happy to answer any of those. But again, that's the update for now. I am very excited about what may be next. And again, thank you guys for everything over the years. It means more to me than you will know, and I'm super excited to continue doing this for years to come. Tesla stock closed the day at $378.67, up 0.63%, while the NASDAQ was up 0.01%. And the volume was right on the average. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.